Guys, did I discuss this slide? What is a LUN storage processor and HBA FC
Yes,
switch?
yes, yes, we did.
Okay. We also discussed this.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep. Okay. Now we need to discuss FCOE, fiber channel over Ethernet. Okay. Now
exactly.
here, guys, in FCOE, it's a protocol used in SAN. And here, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to transmit the FC protocol over our Ethernet network, basically. So that's the reason why this particular protocol got its name as fiber channel over Ethernet. So in this, normally what happens is that on your server, you require a special kind of card which is called as CNA, Converged Network Adapter. From this CNA, the connection goes to a fiber channel over Ethernet switch, FCOE switch. From there, this FCOE switch can handle both fiber channel connectivity as well as it can handle Ethernet connectivity. So this may be your FC SAN, and here it may be your LAN, local area network. Okay, and this is your ESXi host. And on the host, what you require is a CNA, or normally what we call as converged network adapter. This is my FC4E switch. Okay, now in FCOE, fiber channel over Ethernet, ESXi issues SCSI commands. These SCSI commands are encapsulated into FC frames. Then FC frames are encapsulated into FCOE frames, and FCOE frames are converged to our network traffic, and they are passed on to our FC SAN. However, you require an FCOE switch which can handle both fiber channel as well as Ethernet, both type of network. Now, suppose you don't have a CNA, converged network adapter, on your ESXi host, then there are certain adapters, certain NIC cards, which can also support FCOE, provided you have software FCOE support. So you can use your NIC, provided it supports FCOE, plus you require software FCOE support. Now, as in iSCSI, if you have a hardware iSCSI adapter, that is fine. If you don't have a hardware iSCSI adapter, you can use a normal NIC card plus the software iSCSI initiator service. The same way, if you want to get connected or if you want to use FCOE, then not all NIC cards support FCOE. There are few NIC cards that support FCOE. If you have that NIC card, then you can use software FCOE and get connected to your FCFAN. So basically, this is what is FCOE, fiber channel over Ethernet. Normally, the 10 Gbps cards which your servers come along with will support this FCOE, and they can work as converged network adapters. All right. So this is about FCOE, fiber channel over Ethernet. This particular protocol falls under the fiber channel itself, but because it is a part of fiber channel, it is transmitting the fiber channel protocol but over our Ethernet network. Okay. Now, any questions regarding FCOE, guys? Okay, let me move forward then. Now here, guys, my ESXi host is accessing LUNs from my SAN server. Okay, and those LUNs appears as SCSI devices to my ESXi host, and my ESXi host requires an ID, an identifier from the storage device in order to identify that particular SCSI device. So here on my host, the storage devices use various identifiers on my ESXi host, and VM kernel requires those identifiers generated by storage device. Now every LUN what my ESXi host is accessing will have a SCSI identifier, and that is what is called as SCSI ID, the unique address of a SCSI device. And there are many types of SCSI IDs which your storage device can use uh, in order to identify, in order to give the unique address to that particular LUN, basically. So here, one type of a SCSI device, SCSI ID is canonical name. Now, basically, this is called the NA ID. It is the unique LUN identifier. Now, it starts with NAA. Basically, it is issued by an authority called Network Authentication Authority. It starts with NAA, followed by a specific number, random number, and this is a unique LUN identifier. And this ID is persistent. What is the meaning of it is that even after a reboot, the ID which has been issued is not going to change. It is going to be the permanent. And some other storage devices use some other type of SCSI IDs, like the SCSI ID will start with T10, and this is assigned by an authority called IEFT, and that ID starts with T10 followed by some random numbers. Okay, and if suppose your VM kernel is unable to find any SCSI ID on that particular SCSI device, then VM kernel issues a SCSI ID on its own to that particular device. For example, the SCSI ID starts with MPX. Now, this is the VMware namespace. That means your ESXi host issues this ID, and this is non-persistent. That means after a reboot, this ID is going to change. It is not going to be the same. And basically, this namespace is issued to the local devices which are connected to your system. So, whatever the local devices, the SCSI devices which are connected to your ESXi host, as it is not coming from a storage device, from a sandbox, so your ESXi has to identify that particular SCSI device. So it issues a namespace starting with MPX. Now, so that means any SCSI device which your system, your ESXi host is accessing, it needs to have a SCSI ID. If that LUN is coming from a storage device, then either it will have a NA ID or a T10 ID. If that device is a local device, then that will have MPX. So along with that IDs like NA ID or T10 ID or MPX ID, every SCSI device is going to have a runtime namespace. Now, this runtime namespace uses the convention VM8 and this is also issued by your ESXi host, and it is non-persistent. That means whenever a reboot occurs, a new runtime name space is given to that particular SCSI device. So why there is a requirement for you to understand these SCSI IDs is because in real time, what happens is that sometimes that you're accessing a LUN and you have formatted that LUN with VMFS data store. Let us say this is your ESXi host, and maybe this is your SAN, and on the SAN there might be multiple LUNs which are assigned to you. Okay, let us say this is LUN 1, this is LUN 2, and there are LUN 3. And your ESXi host is accessing those LUNs. This is my ESXi. And let us say I have formatted my first LUN, okay, with VMFS, and this becomes my VMFS data store. And let us say this LUN's capacity is 100 GB, okay, and this is my VMFS data store, okay, and its capacity is 100 GB. All right. Now that means it is nothing but a LUN which has been assigned to me. Now let us say this 100 GB space is filled. Okay. Now then what you do, you may contact your storage administrator and request him to increase the size of this LUN from 100 to 200 GB. Okay. Now it has been increased from 100 to 200 GB. Now there might be some extra LUNs which are available to you. Okay. And now from the ESXi's configuration, you're trying to increase the VMFS size from 100 to 200 GB. Then you need to select the right LUN which has been expanded. That is the place where these SCSI IDs will come handy to you. So before you informing your storage administrator, excuse me, you can identify that which is the LUN which has been formatted with VMFS or which is being used as VMFS data store 1, 2, or 3, and you can make a note of that particular SCSI ID. Maybe it can be a NA ID or a T10 ID, and then you inform your storage administrator to just go ahead and increase the size of it. Once he goes, the storage administrator increase the size from 100 to 200 GB, and when you try to increase the volume of that particular VMFS data store, and in that process, you may see some other multiple LUNs which are available to you, and you may get confused like which is the ID, which is the LUN which has to be expanded, or which is the LUN which has been expanded. So at that particular time, if you have made a note of that particular SCSI ID, you can easily identify which is that particular LUN, and can easily select that particular LUN and increase the size from 100 to 200 GB. So this is very important. So you need to identify those, what do you say, SCSI IDs, the LUNs with the SCSI IDs. So that's the reason why these IDs plays very important role. Okay. Any questions on storage device naming like the SCSI IDs? In a moment, we are going to see the practical. I'm going to show you how a storage device your SAN issues a SCSI ID to your LAN. However, any questions before that? Any questions, guys? Any questions, guys? Prabhakar, Rupesh, Satya, Usman, Vikas.
No. Yeah.
Right then. Fine. Now let us see the practical part of it. I'm going to use Server 2012. Why? Because Server 2012 has a feature which can act as an iSCSI SAN server. So I'll use Server 2012 to convert it into an iSCSI SAN server. Then I'll create a target. I'll create a LUN. I'll configure access rights on it. And then I'll show you how to configure our ESXi host in order to access those LUNs which has been exposed to us, and how to format that particular LUN into a VMFS data store. Let us see that part. I'm getting connected to one of the server which is running server 2012, which is 10.5.5.3.
What is the password,
Okay, pardon?
Password.
The password is, I'll write it here, make a note of it. Guys, you can use the same machine in order to create your LUNs. Okay, the IP address is 10.5.5.3. Okay, and the username is administrator, and the password is ZOOM underscore 123. This is the password, guys. Make a note of it. Okay, Zoom underscore 123. Z is in uppercase. Sorry, it is in lowercase. ZOOM underscore 123. Fine. So I'm connected to that machine, guys. Normally, Server 2012 has included this particular feature uh, so that it can be used as an iSCSI SAN server. Normally, that is available as a feature. All you need to click on Add Roles and Features in the Server Manager. Just showing you how to configure it. Click on Next. You need to select the role-based or feature-based installation. It's already configured, but I'm showing you where exactly you find this particular feature. Next, and here, if you expand this file and storage services, and then expand this, you find this one. This is already grayed out. That means it's already installed here. You need to select iSCSI target server, iSCSI's target storage provider. If you select these two options and click on next, next, and install, this particular role would get installed on the server 2012, and now it is ready to act as an iSCSI SAN server. Fine. So this is how you add that particular role. Again, in the add roles and features, expand this file and storage services if it is not installed. Select that, then expand file and iSCSI services, and here just select these two options: iSCSI target server, iSCSI target storage provider, VDS and DSS. Right, and then click on next, next, and you can complete the installation of this particular role. All right. All right, so I have this role installed. Now what you can do is that you can just expand this option, which is file and storage services. Then here you find multiple options. Go to iSCSI. Once you go to iSCSI, here you find multiple, or to say, virtual hard disk which has been created. Fine. Select this. Let me just disable and delete so that you can have free space available. Now this is how it appears for the first time. Okay. Now what you have to do is that you need to click on this option which says to create an iSCSI virtual disk. Start the new iSCSI virtual disk wizard. Click on it. Okay. And here, if you have multiple hard disks available on that particular system, you can select those disks or the drives, the partitions. Let me select D drive. Okay, and click on next. And here you need to name this particular virtual hard disk. Guys, name can be based on to which particular application this particular virtual hard disk. That means this particular LAN would be assigned. It can be based on department. It can be based on application, so that you can easily identify for whom this has been assigned, so on and so forth. Uh, Let me say that it has been assigned. It's a production. Okay, it has been assigned to vSphere department or VMware, let us say. Let me say this is one. Now, out of the free space, 26.6 GB, let me use only 10 GB out of it. Okay. Now, the virtual hard disk is ready, but you need to assign this virtual hard disk to an iSCSI target. If you have an existing target, you can assign to it, or you can go with new iSCSI target, or because target presents LUNs to your iSCSI initiators. Fine. So click on next. I'm creating a new iSCSI target, and the target also I'm naming the same so that this is my target name. And here, this is the place where I can configure access rights. Now, access rights is something where I can configure which are the initiators who can access this particular target and the particular LUN. So here, I'm clicking on add. Now, guys, targets present LUNs to the initiators, and this is the place where I'm configuring the access rights. I need to mention the initiator. Initiators can be identified by IP addresses, host names, IQN names. Yesterday I've discussed IQN, iSCSI qualified names. All right, and some servers also accept MAC address, like for example, iSCSI server 2012 server accept MAC addresses as well. So here I can just enter a value for the specified type. If we want to assign the initiator with an IQN name, I need to mention the IQN name here. All right. If not, I can just go ahead and use an IP address. Fine. So I can use an IP address here. The IP address, Prabhakar, the IP address of your ESXi host is what?
10.83.0.20 and 40.
20, 40, right? Okay, so let us use that. So 10.83.0.20. Okay, this is my initiator. Fine. Okay. Let me do one thing. Remove it. Okay, fine. And let me add my physical ESXi host IPs as well. So I'll show you how it appears. 10.0.1.20. I'm not adding 0.40, or because while practicing you can just configure on 0.40 so that you can see how the configuration is done. Okay, so I'm adding the other, my physical host as well, 10.0.1.30. So these are the three initiators who can access this particular LUN, this particular target. Fine. And apart from this, no other initiators can access it, but because I am clearly mentioning who is going to access it, the access servers. Fine. Click on next. I also discussed that iSCSI also uses CHAP authentication. If you want to use CHAP protocol, then you can enable CHAP, and you can use, let's say, the username and the password, and you can share this username and password with the with administrators who are going to configure your ESXi. So normally this particular part or this particular job which we are doing right now is done by the storage administrator in real time. So this is how he creates the LUNs, all right, and this is how he configures the access rights on the iSCSI SAN, and he informs us that okay, I have given the space. Your space is ready. Your LUN is ready with 10 GB. Now you go ahead and configure on your ESXi host. So this part is done by the storage administrator normally. Now this part is done. Okay. Now we have to do it on our ESXi host. So let us see how to configure storage on ESXi. So let me get connected to my. Guys, this configuration on an ESXi host can be done directly connected to an ESXi host, or you can also do it through vCenter server. So I'm doing it through vCenter server. Let me create a data center. Let me add the host of Prabhakar here so that I can manage from here itself. Okay, what is the IP of Rupesh? Rupesh, what is the IP of your ESXi host? Yep, just a moment. It's 10.15.0.1. Okay, the username is root and the password. Uh-huh. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Yep. So let us add this here. So I'm using only one of your ESXi hosts to show you the configuration. The second ESXi host you can configure it. Okay, so that you can configure. Fine. Now, once go to your ESXi host. Now, this is what we do on our ESXi host in order to access the iSCSI SAN server, access that particular LAN, and then format that with BMFS so that we can store our virtual machines. So that would become our shared storage, shared BMFS data stores. So on the ESXi host, you need to go to the configuration tab. From there, go to storage adapters, right? and here you can find all the storage adapters available on your ESXi host. Now, there might be an fiber channel HBA available that would be available here. You can see that it will give you the entire description. That's the fiber channel, fiber fabric, FC fabric, manufacturer name, and what is the bandwidth it can handle, so on and so forth. Guys, normally if your ESXi host in your infrastructure there is fiber channel, what is it, SAN, then you as a VMware administrator, there's not much you need to handle here. Why? Because the HBAs, the fiber channel HBAs are normally auto configurable. They do auto configure. And what is the most important thing is that here you find WWN. Okay, so if it is a fiber channel HBA, you find the WWN here, and most probably your storage administrator may ask you the WWN of your fiber channel HBA so that he can configure LUN masking on his ESXi host, or he configures zones on the fiber channel switch so that the right LUN would be exposed to your ESXi host. Okay, so that is all you do here, and because it is auto configurable, the fiber channel HBA is going to get connected to the SAN because there is LUN masking and what is a zoning done configured by your SAN administrator, and then the LUNs would get exposed to you, and using those LUNs you can format it with VMFS data store and you can use it. Now that is about the HBA, the fiber channel HBA. Now suppose if you have an iSCSI card, specific kind of a iSCSI card, that also appears here with the description, what type of a card it is, okay, and you can use it. Now if you don't have an iSCSI card, then what else can we use? We can use your normal NIC card plus the software iSCSI initiator. And I told you that on ESXi, that software iSCSI initiator is appearing as a software iSCSI adapter. So how we can add that software iSCSI adapter? On the storage adapters, you find this option which says add. You click on add, and here comes the option of add software iSCSI adapter. And there is something else here which is grayed out right now, which is add software FCOE adapter. Guys, even if you have a converged network adapter available on your server, that would appear in the storage adapters list. If you don't have that, I told you that some of the NIC cards will support FCOE. Then you have to use this add software FCOE adapter. This would get highlighted only if you have that specific NIC card which supports it. If it doesn't support, this will not get highlighted. So let us click on OK to add software iSCSI adapter. So a new software adapter would be added to the storage adapters list. Okay. So if you can see in the recent task right now, that adapter would get added and it appears in the storage adapters list. Okay, you find this iSCSI software adapter. If you see this, it has an IQN. You see this IQN? So this is the IQN of your initiator basically. Fine. So now you need to select that adapter, whether it is hardware iSCSI or software iSCSI. You need to select it. Then click on the properties tab of it. Beneath that, you find the details of it. You can click on properties tab. Now this dialog box appears of the iSCSI initiator properties, and you find multiple tabs. You need to select dynamic discovery. And now you need to add the iSCSI SAN server's IP address or the host name. What is my iSCSI SAN server's IP address? Is 10.5.5.3. And by default, all the iSCSI SAN servers use the port number 3260. And suppose if you have configured CHAP on your iSCSI SAN server, this is how you are going to use CHAP. Click on CHAP, and then you need to mention the secret username and the password. Okay, so it can be use CHAP, do not use CHAP, or use CHAP unless required by target. So these are the options. And you can enter the username and the password. This has to be shared by your storage administrator basically. Okay, so if you're not using CHAP, not a problem. Okay, click on OK. Now guys, this is how I have configured my iSCSI SAN server. Now what is going to happen is that when I click on close, it will ask for a rescan, and then this initiator is going to send the send targets command to this iSCSI SAN server, and the LUNs would get exposed. Now guys, can I access that particular LUN? I'm asking you a question.
We can access.
Can this 10.15.0.1, can I access that LUN? No, I can't access this. Why? Because I haven't added I haven't added this initiator on that particular target. I've added the Prabhakar's IP 10.83.0.20. I did not add 10.15.0.1. Okay. Even though if I click on close, it will ask for a rescan. I'll say yes. Still, you can see the connected target 0, devices 0, and path 0. Why? Because I haven't configured that. Now let us go and configure that on our 10.5.5.3. So this is my iSCSI. Fine. Right click on the properties of it. The virtual hard disk. Okay, let me just go down. And here you find the targets. Then you go to the targets, properties, and here you find initiators. And here now we need to add the IP address of it is 10.15.0.1, right? Click on OK. Now these initiators has been added. Click on OK. Now just minimize this. Already the configuration is done. If you go to the properties, I've already configured the IP address of my iSCSI SAN. Okay. Now what I have to do, I need to right click this, click on rescan. See guys, now immediately you have seen this, the connected targets 1, devices 1, paths 1. If I again go to the properties of it, go to static discovery, you can see this LUN which is exposed. And what is the name I have given to that particular target? Production VMware vSphere 1. Okay. So my LUN is ready. So now my ESXi host is able to access this particular LUN. But this LUN is raw. So the next thing what I have to do is that I need to format this LUN with VMFS. So in order to do that, I need to again go to the storage section here under the same configuration tab, under hardware, go to storage. And right now you have only one local hard disk. Okay. Now you need to add storage. So in order to do that, you need to click on add. Here you can add two types of storages. One is VMFS storage, the other one is NFS storage, NFS data store. If you are formatting a local hard disk or a fiber channel LUN or an iSCSI LUN, you need to select disk or LUN here. If you want to access a folder on SAN which has been exported using NFS, network file system, then you need to select network file system. So I'm selecting disk or a LUN because it is a LUN on my iSCSI. Click on next. Now here you can see this LUN which is exposed, and if you see, if I expand this, are you able to see this identifier NA ID? Okay, so this is the SCSI ID guys. This is a unique identifier by which you can identify that particular LUN. Alright, so this has been issued by the iSCSI SAN server. So every LUN will have a unique identifier, either starting with NA or T10. Okay, and if it is a local device, then ESXi issues a MPX namespace. So select that particular LUN, click on next. Now this is important guys. Let me take the help of this. Guys, we have two versions of VMFS. The first one is VMFS 3. This was the version till 4.1, vSphere 4.1. Okay, and from 5 onwards we have the version VMFS 5. So guys, this is my file system. Any file system will have a minimum block size, a partition size, and a volume size. As NTFS, the minimum block size is 4 KB, and you can have a volume size of 16 exabyte. The same way, FAT32, you can have the minimum block size of 60 KB and the partition size of 32 GB in that way. In the same way, VMFS also has the minimum block size and the partition size and the volume size, the maximum volume what you can get. In VMFS 3, I have different block sizes I can select from. The first block size is 1 MB, and if you select 1 MB, the maximum partition size what you can get is 256 GB. The second option is 2 MB, and if you select 2 MB, then the maximum partition size what you can get is 512 GB. The third option is 4 MB. You select 4 MB, then the partition size what you can get maximum is 1 terabyte. And the last option, the last size, block size is 8 MB. You select 8 MB, then the maximum partition size is 2 terabyte. Okay. However, this is the partition size. The maximum volume size in VMFS 3 is 64 terabyte. Okay, this is VMFS 3. Now, when it comes to VMFS 5, this is the latest version of virtual machine file system. From version 5 onwards, I don't have the choice of selecting the minimum block size. It has a default block size of 1 MB, and you can get a partition size of 2 terabyte and a volume size of 64 terabyte. However, the difference here is in this way. The first difference, it is easily visible. In VMFS 3, I have multiple options to select the minimum block size. Okay, but in VMFS 5, I don't have this option, but because the default block size is 1 MB. This is the first difference. Second difference is that in VMFS 3, you can get a volume size of 64 terabyte. However, in order to get this volume size of 64 terabyte, you need to use multiple extents. That means multiple times you need to increase this volume by adding multiple extents of 2 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 2 terabyte in that way. The maximum extents is 32. So 32 into 2 is 64 terabyte. So you need to add multiple extents uh, in order to get a volume of 64 terabyte. Whereas in VMFS 5, for the first time, yes, you get a partition size of 2 terabyte. And then when you increase this volume with a single extent, you can go up to 64 terabyte. There is no need for you to add multiple extents in order to achieve the volume of 64 terabyte. So these are the two differences between VMFS 3 and VMFS 5. Okay. Now here it is giving me the option to select the version of the file system. If you select 5, then you select this option to enable additional capabilities such as 2 terabyte plus support. And however, this VMFS 5 is not supported by ports with ESX version older than 5. So if you have any older versions in your infrastructure, then better to go and use VMFS 3 rather than VMFS 5, because virtual machines stored on VMFS 5 cannot work on the virtual machine stored on VMFS 3. So if you have older versions, then go ahead and configure with VMFS 3. First, let me show you with VMFS 3. Click on next. Here it is giving you the description. A partition will be created and used. Click on next. And here you need to give a name to your data store. Okay. Now, what type of a data store it is? A VMFS or NFS? It is VMFS data store. So we can name it as VMFS. And again, is it a local data store or a shared data store? It is a shared data store because it is on my SAN. So I can name it as shared. All right. And you can go ahead and further give somewhat information that maybe it is being used for specific virtual machines. You can name that specific virtual machine based on the application or based on the department in that way. Or you can go with a shared 1, shared 2, shared 3. It depends on your infrastructure, how the naming convention is being used. Now let me name this as temporary. Okay. Otherwise I'm going to remove it off afterwards. So just for me to understand what data store it is. So click on next. Now here, as this is VMFS 3, it is allowing me to select the block size. With 1 MB, I get a maximum partition size of 256 GB. Here you can go with 2 MB, 4 MB, and 8 MB, depending on your infrastructure. However, when we used to use VMFS3, we used to go with 8 MB so that we can get a maximum partition size of 2 terabyte. Okay, so you can go with whatever you want. So this is VMFS3. I'm not going with VMFS3. Let me go backward and now select VMFS5. Next, a partition will be created and used. Next, the name. Next, directly it is coming to a place. It is not giving me options of blocks, but because there are no multiple blocks, only the default block. Now, here my LUN size is 10 GB. You want to use the entire space, you can use this option, maximum available space, or out of the 10 GB, let us say that I want to use only 5 GB at this moment, but afterwards maybe I'll increase that size. Okay, let me go with custom. Guys, are you able to hear my voice?
Yeah.
Okay, I lost connection maybe. Let me get connected again. I think my data center is down because of power cut. Let me confirm that. హలో సుధాకర్ పవర్ పోయిందా అమ్మా ఇక్కడ ఇది పవర్ కట్టా నిన్న పోలేదుగా 5:30కి పోయిందా ఎవరో 5కి తీసుకున్నారు ఓకే అదే సడన్గా కనెక్షన్ పోతే ఫైన్ ఓకే my data center is down because of power failure. Let me do one thing. Bring it down.
Can you use single LAN to multiple hosts?
Yes, absolutely. You can assign the same LAN to multiple hosts. Okay.
Okay.
That is the advantage.
Suppose,
that is the advantage of SAN. Basically, the LANs can be shared with multiple systems. Fine.
Okay.
अच्छा ठीक है ओके trying to show you on my workstation. That's NS configured. I'll be able to show you. I think I've configured that on DC11. In India, summer season, it's a season of power cuts.
That too in Andhra it's more
Yep.
compared to other southern states.
Yes, yes. That too, Hyderabad is the capital city. Okay. And here you have 3 to 4 hours of power cut. I don't know what is happening in the towns and villages. Like
Villages there will be 13 to 15, 16 hours power cut. More than 16 hours also.
Oh, I remember the password of this. Okay. Here there is another software by which you can build an iSCSI SAN server, which is called as Starwind. Okay. So, already certain LUNs are available. Automating. target here. Where the license has been expired. License. Just give me a moment, guys. Okay, fine. I've created two targets. Okay, and if I go into access rights, here in Starwind, guys, by default the access right is given to all. So I can just modify this and remove. And here I can create my own role. So I can give a name. And say that production. Okay, and the source would be the initiators. This is access rights here. And the other one is, sorry, I'm adding these. Don't have that right. Remove it.
Hello? Hello?
Maybe मुझे अपनी बहुत
Yeah, power connection maybe.
मुझे मुझे लॉस पावर में भी
Yeah, looks like.
Hi, this is Srinivas here. Can you hear me?
Can you hear you? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Mujib disconnected due to some internet connectivity issue. Okay, he is trying to reconnect it. Please hold on for 5 minutes. We'll see and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Thank you. Rupesh, your this one getting open this recorded session? Rupesh? Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mujib, you can continue.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Now let us see that configuration. Fine. Now, after configuring storage adapters, you need to come to storage. Now, I'll explain you how come this VMFS shared 1 and shared 2 appeared in a moment. But first, we need to click on Add Storage, then select a disk or a LAN. Click on Next. So that LAN is not exposed. Go to storage adapters one. Go to scan. Yep. Click on Add Storage, disk or a LAN. Now that LAN is available, select that LAN. Click on Next. Go with VMFS 5. Partition will be created and used. Need to give a name to it. Click on Next. I'm not using the entire space. Let me use the initial 5 GB, let us say. Click on Next. The entire summary of it, click on Finish. Now in a moment you have seen that that particular LUN which got formatted with VMFS is available under my storage as a shared storage VMFS temp 1. Okay. Now this is how we configure on the first ESXi host. On the other ESXi host, all you need to do is just go to the storage adapters. Okay. Select the storage adapter, go to the properties, go to the dynamic discovery, and add the iSCSI SAN server's IP address. Click on close, and just it will ask for a rescan. Say yes, and then when you come to storage, there is no need for you to click on add storage. That particular VMFS shared temp will get added automatically as this VMFS shared 1 and VMFS shared 2 got added automatically. Why those that particular data stores gets added automatically on the other ESXi host? There are two reasons for that. Why? Because the first LUN is shared on the SAN. Why? Because we are accessing the same target, the same LUN, and that same LUN is being accessed by multiple servers. That is the first reason why there is no need for you to add storage here. Second reason is that it is a VMFS data store. VMFS has its feature called clustered file system. That means it is shared file system by default. Because of these two reasons, only on one ESXi host, we click on add storage and format that particular LUN with VMFS. On the other ESXi host, all we configure is on the storage adapters to access that particular iSCSI SAN server, and that's it. As the LUN is exposed, as that LUN is already formatted with VMFS, I need not format it again. So that's the reason why the other data stores will appear automatically. Now, why this VMFS shared 1 and shared 2 appeared here is because these were the two LUNs which I used earlier, and those LUNs were already formatted with VMFS. So once I configured this storage adapter with those LUNs were already formatted. That's the reason why without adding me into the storage, add storage option, those LUNs appeared. Okay. When I click on add storage, guys, if you select this option here, what is mentioning? Create a data store on fiber channel LUN, iSCSI LUN, or local SCSI disk, or mount an existing VMFS volume. Suppose on that LUN there is already a VMFS volume, there is no need for you to format that LUN. It will get automatically exposed here. Okay. Because of this reason, this VMFS shared 1 and shared 2 appeared on my storages. Clear, guys? Now, just now you have seen that I haven't used the entire capacity of my LUN, right? Though it has a capacity of 40 GB, I have used only approximately 5 GB. Now, why I've done that is to show you how to increase the volume of your VMFS dynamically. Guys, there might be two reasons why you do that. One, as I have informed you that your VMFS data store is filled with space. Maybe it was 100 GB now. You have requested the storage administrator to increase the size of your LUN from 100 to 200 GB. Then how you are going to increase that VMFS storage, VMFS volume? Then you have to select that volume which you want to increase. Okay, and here beneath that you find the properties of it. Click on properties, and now here you get the option which says increase. Click on increase, and once the storage administrator increases that particular LUN size from maybe 100 to 200 or whatever it is, you can just select that particular LUN, click on next. Now it says that free space will be used to expand the VMFS volume. For the first time when you format the LUN, you take the LUN and format it, it will mention that a partition would be created and or it would be formatted with VMFS. But now already that there is a format on it, so it is just expanding the VMFS volume. Click on next. Again, it is going to ask you whether you want to use the entire available space or a custom space. If you want to use the entire space, you can use it, or you can go again with custom. Maybe I'll add 10 GB to it. Click on next. Click on finish. And this is how we dynamically increase our VMFS volume from 5 to 15. Okay, so in this way. Guys, there are two ways how you can increase the volume of your VMFS data store. One is that you request the storage administrator and he increases the size of the LUN. This is the first way of doing. And the second way that he may give an additional LUN or a separate LUN, and the separate LUN can be added to the same volume. Okay, there are two ways how you can increase it. First, the same existing LUN can be increased, the size of the LUN can be increased. That's how your VMFS volume can be increased, can be expanded. That is the first way. In the second way, the storage administrator is not going to increase the size of the LUN. Rather than doing that, he is going to allocate a new LUN to you. A new LUN to you, and you're going to use the new LUN and you attach that to the same VMFS data store volume and increase the volume. Even in both the cases, whether the first case or the second case, the procedure is the same. You have to select the VMFS data store for which you want to increase the volume size. You can click on properties. Okay, click on increase. And if it is a new LUN which has to be added, that would appear here in this way. Select that LUN, click on next. Okay, it will be the same. Click on next. And you want to use the maximum available space. Yes. Click on next and click on finish. And that VMFS volume would be increased. Okay. However, there is a difference in these two methods. Let me explain you what is that. Suppose the first method where the LUN size has been increased, no problem with it. Second method, a new LUN has been added to the volume. If a new LUN has been added to the volume, then your VMFS data store includes two LUNs, right? So let me explain you what happens. So first LUN was available, and your VMFS data store size was 100 GB, let us say, 100 GB. Now, what the storage administrator has given, he has given a new LUN to you. Now, you are using two LUNs, and now you get a volume size of 200 GB. But this 200 GB is not from a single LUN, but it is spread across two LUNs. However, the first LUN will contain the metadata information of your volume. So it contains the metadata information. The first LUN will have the metadata information. So metadata is stored on the first LUN. Okay, so what will happen is that as the metadata is stored on the first LUN, let us say something goes wrong with your first LUN, then second LUN is also unused because I lost the metadata information. So if you ask me, what is the best procedure to increase the size of your VMFS data store? Request your data store administrator to increase the size of the LUN. Okay, why? Because that is the best way. If something goes wrong with the first LUN, the remaining LUNs will be wasted. They cannot be used because the metadata information is stored on the first LUN. All right. So this is what you need to keep in mind, and request your storage administrator to just increase the size of the same existing LUN. If it is not possible, then you can go ahead and take the second LUN. Not always be stored on the first LUN in that particular volume. All right. This is about your storage, guys. This is how you configure your storage. Any questions regarding this? Any questions, guys?
The lab manual
Any
has all
questions?
the lab manual has all the practical sites which are covered
Yes.
today, right?
Yes. 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 Whatever I've shown you, these are available in the print shots on the lab manual. And if you are getting confused, just follow the lab manual and you'll be able to complete the labs. Fine? Any other questions on this, in the storage part? Yes, Hari, Prabhakar, Rupesh, Satya, Usman, and Vikas. Any questions on this?
We have to practice.
All right, yes, you have to practice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, this lab is available on the material which has been shared with you guys. Okay, and if you get confused, just follow the lab manual, and most probably you'll be able to complete that without any issue. Fine. All right, guys, I'm done with today's session, and tomorrow we are going to see a new topic where we are going to deal with the snapshots, the cloning of a virtual machine, the templates, creation of templates, and we'll also see virtual machine migrations, like how many types of migrations and how to configure that migrations, how to perform those migrations, and what exactly happens behind the migrations. We'll try to understand the technology behind it. All right. So tomorrow, virtual machines management, where it includes snapshots, clones, templates, and migrations. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Then catch you tomorrow at the same time, 4 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Till then, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. You're welcome.